the Yankees have chipped away. Fouled off. You know, dark humor from a Yankee fan would say, yeah, sure, Kenny Rogers is out there 4-0. That's a Yankee win. That's the way it goes. Kenny Rogers gives up the big lead, and then the Yankees come back and win. And the fact of the matter is that that's exactly what the Yankees have done.
Yeah, last year with his 12 wins, it seemed like he gave up a lot of runs early.
A bloop that's grabbed by Derek Jeter. So Sheffield is retired, and Ramiro Mendoza never threw him a ball. 2 outs.
Boy, he got in his kitchen. You know, when Bobby was out in the early innings and he hit the home run, he pointed out, yeah, they try to come inside on Sheffield, and you do, but you better have a lot on it. See, Mendoza's fastball was moving right in on the handle, broke his bat.
So now Mendoza will face Moise Alou, who's had a pair of doubles. The first one scored 3, and thus the 3 RBIs. Here's the completion of that thought. The Yankees record with Kenny Rogers starting the game is actually 8-5. When Cone starts, it's 8-7. When Wells starts, it's 7-6. The best starter is Andy Pettitte. The Yankees are 9-5 when he starts. And that's just one of those quirky things. I mean, there can't be any sort of
pitchers, they argue. I used to have a roommate named Jim Merritt, and every time I'd pitch, we'd get 9 runs, and he'd pitch, we'd get 1. We'd say, well, you hope for a rain out, or you say, let's switch spots in the rotation, because there's always one pitcher that doesn't get any runs, like Kevin Brown last year for the Marlins, and then there's one pitcher. Bobby, you'll remember years ago, Yankees had a pitcher named Jim Coates, right-hand pitcher. Every time he went out there, Yankees scored 9 runs. His ERA would be 6. He'd be 10-0. But you're right. There's always one pitcher pitches on the right day.
Beautiful inning by Ramiro Mendoza. He gets the Marlins 1, 2, 3. So through 5 innings, it's Florida 4 and the Yankees 2. I'll see you on the post-game report.
Done it?
It's really a great franchise from a fan interest standpoint, but we're catching it on a week that there's more rain than usual.
And of course the papers this morning full of talk that Huizinga says even if they sell out every game, he's going to lose $30 million and he's going to move the team.
I don't think he'll move the team, but Wayne Huizinga, Bobby and I talked about earlier, Heredia deals to Pat Kelly, and that's outside. It's a ball and a strike. He is famous for taking companies, building them up, and then he sells and moves on, and he might be trying to do the same thing with the Marlins.
And smashing the unions in the middle while he's doing that.
That's upstairs 2-1. Now, you're not a big fan of National with all the moves that are being made, but we're going to see it this inning. This will be National League Baseball because Ramiro Mendoza is due up 3rd.
Well, we were just talking about the other game. It seems like 100 years ago, and I thought there were a lot of knee-jerk moves that didn't need to be moved, didn't need to be made. Jim Leyland went through his entire pitching staff. It was a 2-1 ball game. 9 hits between the 2 teams. You go through 7 pitchers. Seemed a little silly, but if that's what they want to do, that's fine.
It's 3-1 to Kelly, and now he draws a leadoff walk. I think what Jim Leyland would probably say, Susan, is that's the reason it was a 2-1 ball game, because he is famous for trying to match up. He did it today. He brought Heredia in to match up with Tino Martinez and O'Neill. There's Leyland and his pitching coach Larry Rothschild looking at the charts.
Is kind of an interesting case anyway. I kind of like him. Little herky-jerky motion, very young. He can go a few innings though. He's the one that was warming up the other night, I guess, when Helling didn't have a good start, and he threw probably 80 pitches before he ever got into the game. See
how the Yankees play it here. Mendoza is in the on-deck circle. Girardi takes strike 1. You know, one way to look at it is if Joe Torre wants to keep Ramiro in the game, he lets Girardi hit away, and if Joe doesn't deliver, well, just in case, we see who's getting up in the bullpen.
Of the 1 pitchers that I saw during taking batting practice, Katie, Ramiro Mendoza was the one that was smacking balls all over the park at Yankee Stadium. Not that it's the same,
right,
but he was really hitting, and he seems to be a very good hitter.
Strike count to Joe Girardi. Yes, he did. And it's 1-1. Of course, Doc Gooden will start game 2. He's got 7 career home runs, so he would represent the best Yankee hitting pitcher. Had a chance to hit a lot during his National League days.
Talked to Doc a lot in the last 2 days. You hope he doesn't get too excited and too overblown about this game. He's very excited, very intense. There's about 200 members of his family coming for that game.
Toward third base, Bonilla on the short hop with a nice throw to Abbott, and nice slide at second by Pat Kelly to upend Kurt Abbott, and the ball goes into the Marlin dugout. I tell you, Abbott's tough. He hangs in there.
Pat Kelly really good on the base pass, and he really takes out Abbott there. But the play, terrific play by Bonilla, and that's 2 plays that we've seen so far by Bonilla over at third base. And he seems to have lost an awful lot of weight when you watch him. He's really, look at that. That's a terrific pickup by Bonilla, and you have to look twice to make sure it's the Bobby Bonilla that we're used to watching in New York. Terrific slide, a roll slide by Pat Kelly, and ball goes right into the Marlins dugout.
And Jim Leland compares Bonilla a bit to when we talk about Wade Boggs. We talk about guys who have worked hard at becoming good third basemen. Don't have a lot of range, but sure hands. Now, Joe Torre's going to his bench.
You were right. There you go. Graham Lloyd will be in the next inning, and in comes Chad Curtis.
Chad Curtis, some Yankee fans might have peeked in for the first time here in recent days and not aware that the Yankees have added Chad Curtis. They acquired him from the Cleveland Indians for David Weathers. Takes strike one from Heredia. Had his best year with the Tigers a couple years ago. Hit over 20 home runs, stole over 20 bases.
Remember when he was with the Angels and playing center field? I thought he was going to be a terrific all-around player, and has really become a journeyman. 5-6 different teams: Cleveland, the Dodgers, Detroit, as you said.
Just got under that one. Outside of third, Bonilla in or near the third base coaching box. Pitcher went 2 down. I agree with you. I think he played above his talent early on. Here's a guy who was a 45th round draft choice, so scouts didn't think a lot of the basic tools of a baseball player, but he certainly has got a lot out of them. But now he's kind of leveled off. Always
an overachiever, almost a level up from Scott Pose, who really works hard and is the same kind of overachiever.
So now Derek Jeter, who struck out twice against Pat Rapp. And he will step in now for the first time against Heredia. Hey, now that's borderline. You know, the rules say you cannot throw to an unoccupied base, and that's one reason that first basemen have to be on or near the bag. Conine will play off the bag, and then he will move toward him. See, if he stands right where Girardi is or moves towards second base, technically that's a balk. That's outside. Ball one.
Heredia had kind of an interesting little motion there. We got kind of a herky-jerky thing with fastball and slider. Only 20 years old, Double-A last year.
I think Bobby Mercer, when he joined you next inning, would say hitting against guys like this, it's not that they throw hard, but it's the knees and elbows and the herky-jerky motion you're talking about. That is more difficult for a hitter to pick up the ball than a guy that throws hard with a smooth motion. There it is.
You know, watch him. He's all arms and legs here, almost like a little puppet. There's that front leg, and there goes the front foot. Not a smooth motion at all. Back leg follows, kind of kicks it up in the back.
Yeah, instead of a 1, 2, 3 throw, it's 1 and then 2, and that's the herky-jerky motion that makes it difficult for hitters to follow the ball. Inside corner, and that's in for a strike. It's 1 and 2 to Jeter. Might see Girardi try to steal second base here. You know, if Joe Torre thinks Heredia might throw a breaking ball, if Girardi gets thrown out, even though the Yankees are down 2, you get a fresh count with Jeter. See how Joe plays it. A long 24 hours for both these teams. Not going, and I think Jeter, no. Boy, Yankees get a little break there. Wow.
Hey, does he go or not? Oh boy.
Steve Palermo always tells us it's the intent. Did the hitter intend to swing? It certainly looked like he intended to swing.
It was all the way around. Practically screwed himself into the ground. I think he did. Eyes
are always darting somewhere, watching for things out on that playing field. Jim Leland. That is on the inside corner. And Jeter will question the call from Greg Bonin. to no avail. Heredia ends the Yankees' sixth with a strikeout, and we head to the bottom of the sixth here at Pro Players. Not a doubleheader, two separate admissions. So
now where can we go and take a nap like that?
Work to be done. Well-rested Graham Lloyd. You see the hits per innings, not a good ratio, and he's had some control problems. He has not pitched in 10 days.
Now, with that kind of control problem, with that big motion that he's got, how much more of a problem is this going to be for him that he hasn't pitched in 10 days?
Well, that's why relief pitchers have to stay as sharp as they can by throwing down in the bullpen. That's ripped down the line by Bonilla, but foul. Bobby's average considerably higher against left-hand pitching. And that swing shows you why. Good rip at that one. He is hitting .444 against left-hand pitching.
You know, and you really wonder the difference. You talk about the difference a manager can make. Now, Jim Leyland, who obviously had Bonilla in Pittsburgh, has handled him totally different from the other managers that he's had since then, and he's just thrived here. He's lost the weight. He's worked out at third base. Leyland went out of his way to say when they go to the American League parks, no, Bonilla is not the DH. He's the third baseman on this team. And I just think that Bobby has really just calmed down this whole year because of that.
When you ask Jim Leyland about his players, usually the first description, skips a rope on that one, and it's 1 and 2, is not this guy can hit, run, or throw. He talks kind of about their personality. And with Bonilla, he said, I sat him down and said, look, you're going to be here through the year 2000. This is not a one-year deal. You want to be accessible to the fans. You want to settle in, show them you're a hard player, get them on your side. And as you mentioned, they're going to let him play third base on an everyday basis. 2 and 2 now after Lloyd moved ahead, 0 and 2 in the count. Stays alive. Talk about third base, Susan. Look at this play Bobby Bonilla made back in the 4th inning.
And this really cost the Yankees. Great play by Bonilla. Gets up and turns and makes a great double play. And the base is loaded, and fielder had no shot at beating that one out. That was just tremendous. That was a tremendous play, and I don't think I've ever seen Bonilla play like that.
Got him to reach for the outside pitch. So Lloyd, who kept coming inside, finally gets Bonilla on the pitch off the plate outside.
Has worked him inside, as you said, and there he is, and gets him on the outside part of the plate. You know, I think also, Kitty, the difference in Bonilla is he comes here, he's not the star. He's not expected to carry the team. Sheffield's here, Alou is here. These people are different kinds of personalities. It's not like when he went to the Mets and he was supposed to be the leader.
Wow. Back at you. Jeff Conine takes it right back up the middle off Graham Lloyd. And Conine, who has not hit well this year, the average down in the 220s, gets his first hit of the day.
Still does have that very short, powerful stroke, though, and lines it right back up the middle. And as we've seen in these past 2 games, Conine's strength has been at first base. He has made some tremendous plays.
Well, I've mentioned it several times, but I think it bears repeating as to why he is so good. Now, this guy's a world-class racquetball player, and if you've ever played racquetball, you know how quick you have to be side to side. Here's Charles Johnson. That pitch on the corner for a strike. Getting back to your point on Bonilla, I think there are some players who excel at being a supporting actor, a support player. He was that way for Barry Bonds, and now here with Sheffield and Alou, you mentioned he can kind of lay back in the background. That's fouled out of play, whereas in New York he was expected to be the man.
And of course, when he went to Baltimore, they put him right in the middle of that lineup, and he was supposed to DH, and he was supposed to hit home runs, and he had some problems with Davey Johnson, and he had some problems down in Baltimore, and they're pretty well documented, but it looks like he's calmed down here.
He's with a manager that he feels knows him and feels very comfortable, Jim Leyland. That's low to Charles Johnson, 1-1.
If you can't play for this guy, you can't be in this game.
Yeah, he is. Well, like Jim Leyland says, and I heard Whitey Herzog say the same thing. That's why so many good managers were mediocre players. He said, I couldn't play this game. I didn't have the talent, and I realized what it's like to go 0 for 4 and not be able to be a 300 hitter. So he said, I appreciate the skills of the big league players, and he can tolerate their weaknesses a little bit more than, say, Frank Robinson had trouble doing that when he first managed, because he was a superstar. He expected it. In the hole in the left field, Charles Johnson has a one-out single, and Conine will stop at second. That is a somewhat important hit for the Marlins because they get the pitcher to the plate here in a situation they can bunt him.
Now Graham Lloyd staying on the outside part of the plate there, fouls it back. You see, still stays on the outside part of the plate, then comes in a little bit, and Johnson gets around on it. Johnson not having a great year at the plate, but really just went right with that pitch inside and pulled it through the hole.
So there is one out, not what you'd call an automatic bunt situation. Jose Cardinal moving everybody around, but I still think Leland will bunt with Heredia, and it looks like he will. That's in for a strike. Jim Leland will take a strikeout or a bunt right here. Anything to get Cangelosi to the plate. And it's Rich Donnelly, his longtime third base coach, flashing the signs. Right toward Boggs. Well, that's a good bunt because he only has one play, and that's to first base. So Heredia, with the one-out sacrifice, advances Conine and Johnson into scoring position.
And he knew exactly what he was doing with that bat, didn't he? Just got it down perfectly, knew right where to go. It is that sort of cockeyed angle, angles it right down the third baseline. Boggs has to go to first base. Perfectly executed sacrifice.
Well, the National League pitchers spend a lot of time doing that because they are expected to come to the plate a few times. American League pitchers seldom do. And he is congratulated by his teammates for a job well done. And John Cangelosi, the veteran switch-hitting outfielder, the leadoff hitter, steps in.
John Cangelosi will always have a job. He is the kind of guy that managers love. He'll be a late-inning replacement. He'll steal your base. He'll run. He'll play hard. He'll go into the wall. Managers just love to have a guy like this around. 34 years old now.
Outside to Cangelosi, and it's 2-0. He's like a or rather 1-1. He's like a left-handed reliever that can throw strikes. You know, they'll always have a spot. There's Conine and Johnson, your runners at third and second. You know, two down here in the Marlins sixth.
You also like him. He'll take a walk. He won't make things happen. He'll walk. He'll get on base. He'll try and bunt for a hit sometimes.
In the air to center, Bernie Williams. Now the ball is carrying fairly well, but Bernie's got plenty of room. He puts it away, and Graham Lloyd has shut down the Marlins here in the sixth. Bobby Mercer will be along to join Susan in the seventh. It is 4-2 Marlins after six.
The first one was, of course, the great double play by Bonilla back in the fourth inning. 4 walks, and then the double play with Fielder pinch hitting.
Well, Boggs will try to get it started for the Yankees here in the top of the seventh inning. Heredia will be pitching here in the seventh. Felix Heredia came on in the fifth. And it's a 1-ball, no strike count to Boggs. Boggs on the day, a couple of base hits, an infield hit back in the first, grounded out in the third, and then a sharp line single in the center in the fifth inning. That's way inside. Now Heredia behind the count 2-0. Our box score for the New York Yankees in the seventh inning. Not a whole lot of hits. Boggs with a couple, Bernie Williams with one. And it's a 4-2 Marlins lead. Now Heredia finds the inside corner for a call strike 2-1.
That's pretty much the pitch that Boggs ripped into right center field for his last hit. And you notice, Bobby, they're trying to jam him inside and trying to get him to pull the ball, which is why most of his hits are going to right field right now.
Heredia goes outside and misses high, so he has fallen behind 3-1. There's Bernie on deck. He waits Boggs. Hopefully Boggs will be on base for Bernie because Bernie represents the tying run. Good swing by Boggs, and he just gets a piece of it to foul it back.
That's that typical Boggs swing, and that ball, if he hits it squarely, goes right into left field. Boggs trying to get out of a terrible slump that he's been in. Had the worst May that he's ever had in his career. 2 for 3 here this afternoon.
Well, he went to the doctor, the eye doctor, and got his contact lenses adjusted, and he said about 25% worth, and he thought he could see the ball a lot better. Another pitch foul back and out of play.
The other thing he was doing was eye exercises, because they gave him certain reading glasses because he couldn't see the ball from far to near, sort of like farsighted as we get older, as I found out.
Really? I've got my glasses on.
So he's doing exercises to get the two sights together.
To help him focus.
To help him focus. Thank you very much.
Boggs is hanging tough with the left-hander Heredia. And the Yankees in the fourth and fifth inning with great opportunities, unable to really put together a big inning, scoring 1 run at each. But some spectacular defensive plays by the Marlins did them in, and a high fly ball into center field. One gone as Alou puts it away.
That's the kind of hit you don't like to see Wade Boggs get, because he does not hit very well. When he pops up, you can see something is wrong, obviously, with the swing just a little bit underneath.
31 for 3. And Bernie I was just going to say, in the fifth inning, was robbed of a base hit, and that turned out to be a key base hit. A key play by the Marlins, as Conine robbed him of at least a double down the right field line. Good fastball from Heredia in there for a called strike.
Conine's had an awful lot to do with these two games. The throw out of Pat Kelly at the plate the other night, and that robbing of Bernie. The hit sure double down the right field line.
Well, it sure goes to show that Conine and that great ability to play racquetball or handball, and as Jim Cott has mentioned many times, and with his quickness now at first base, he has done the job against the Yankees, and actually has saved a couple of games for them. I mean, if the Yankees don't win this game, it'll be you can go back to that play. That is the turning point of the play of the game.
Of course, on the other corner, Bonilla robbing Cecil Fielder, making that great play and turning that into a double play.
Well, Bonilla held it tough there as that ball was hit hard, but Abbott hung tough at second base to go ahead and complete that double play, as Girardi was really bearing down on him. Bernie looked like he was fooled on that pitch. Now it's 2-2.
Bernie's not happy with this swing. He was really fooled on that, and he knew it. Well, that's a lot of emotion for Bernie Williams. Doesn't usually do that.
Well, he's mad at himself because it looked like Bernie was looking for a specific pitch in a situation, and he didn't get it. Look at that. Bonilla with another fine play at third to throw out Williams. Now, Bernie's got to be a little bit unhappy because he tried Conine at first the last time up. He tried Bonilla this time, and he comes up for nothing.
Really rips this, and Bonilla gets into position perfectly, down on his knees, gets up, has plenty of time. And I'll tell you, this is not the same guy that we saw playing third base for the New York Mets. This is a different player. Very steady, doesn't rush. See what happens when you don't get nervous? Look at that. What a grab. And doesn't rush it. Sets himself.
Able to read the label before he throws it over there. That's how hard it was hit. As Tino Martinez steps in with 2 gone here in the 7th inning, strike 1 to Martinez. And Bonilla a lot happier here in Miami with Jimmy Leyland. He had some problems with Davey Johnson. Fly ball into shallow right and center field, and just about to collide with Sheffield and Alou. But Sheffield comes up with it, so some miscommunications in the outfield, but no harm done. Yankees go quietly here in the 7th. Marlins lead at 4-2.
One of these young Marlins that we were talking about, Bobby. This kid is terrific. 21 years old, really quick back, just a brilliant shortstop. Really, you talk to the coaches and they say you only have to tell them something once.
And a quick swing on an inside fastball with a base hit to left field. So Renteria. Well, the Yankees, with Dwight Gooden coming on to pitch the second game, the Yankees are going to have to make a move. And
we were talking about who is going to go. Tim Raines is not coming back on Tuesday, but maybe you have to send Scott Pose down with the advent of Chad Curtis. Pose isn't going to get a lot of time, so maybe Pose goes back to Columbus. The other person, it's possible if you don't want another pitcher, you could send down Jim Messier for a while. And of course, David Wells yesterday getting kicked out of the game, as Joe Torre said. He was very disappointed last night. He was very, very angry at Wells. He said it was unprofessional. He said it was stupid. There was no excuse for that, and he has not forgotten it. David Wells, I had a long talk with him before the game, and Wells was saying that, you know, it was just part of the game and emotional, and he doesn't hold grudges, and he hopes Torrey doesn't.
Renteria will take second base. Big jump from Renteria. The 12th stolen base for the shortstop.
Low and outside, and Girardi's flow is. Renteria gets a terrific jump. He's going to be a wonderful player. Very quick, runs the bases very well, learning to read pitchers.
And I think you brought up the key word is learning. And the more he plays, the more experience he gets. Obviously, with all the talent that we have seen, and the Marlins are really high on this young man, he's got to get better.
You know, you love it when you talk to the manager, and Leland says the great thing about him, as I said, is you only have to tell him something once. He wants to learn and is very quick.
So he's coachable. So now Abbott squares to get Renteria to third, but it's up high, and Lloyd has fallen behind 2-0 on Abbott. Abbott is 0 for 3. He has struck out 2 of the 3 times, and now activity with Jeff Nelson in the Yankee bullpen.
You really wonder with Doc Gooden pitching in the second game who is going to be left in that bullpen. You don't want to use too many players.
Popped him up, and a great effort by Lloyd, and he comes up short, and it's a foul ball. Looked like Girardi and Lloyd both were going to dive to try to make the put out.
Boggs coming in on this one, Girardi going back, and Lloyd just lunges for it. I'm not sure if any of the 3 had really a chance.
Well, even if Lloyd comes up with it, maybe Renteria could tag up and go to third. Boggs was in. Nevertheless, Renteria is down at second, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count to Abbott. Abbott has a lot of bat control, and this time he bunts one perfectly, and Boggs will throw him out, so it's a 5-4 put out on a sacrifice. And more importantly, Renteria ends up at third with less than 1 out, and Sheffield coming to the plate.
And what we did see on Marlins television when I was down before was Abbott's last at bat. There's that perfect bunt by Abbott, and he can do an awful lot of things, and Boggs picks it up. He's got only 1 play, and that goes over to first. What you didn't see, Bobby, was after Abbott's last at bat, when he struck out, he took that bat and he started smashing it in the corridor of the Marlins dugout.
Well, he doesn't have to do it this time. And a meeting on the mound, possibly to delay for time and give Nelson a little bit more time in the Yankee bullpen.
You know, the Wells situation last night had an awful lot of people kind of angry, and Joe Torre, I think, very frustrated with the whole thing. If that game had ever happened, they would have been in big trouble. Well,
there's no way that Joe Torre is going to let Lloyd pitch to either Sheffield or Alou. There's 1 out here in the 7th inning, and it's a 4-2 Marlin lead. Whether they want to walk Sheffield and set up the double play and pitch to Alou, it'll be Nelson. That's warming up in the Yankee bullpen, and they were stalling for time just to give Nelson a few more pitches down there. And it looks like Torre is going to wait a little bit longer and maybe even force Benet to come out and say something. No, Benet started out there, and finally Torre made the move, so Lloyd will leave the game, and Nelson will come on to either face Sheffield or Alou. We'll be back. Lloyd, the Yankees obviously don't want to let the Marlins pick up any more runs here in the 7th inning. 1 man out and a man on at third, and Sheffield the batter.
Nelson leads the team in appearances. He's been in 33 of the 65 games. Pitched well of late.
Well, we're really going to get a good chance here to look at a sign that befits today. It's a happy Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the dads out there in Yankee land and around the world.
And happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you very much, Susan. There were a lot of wonderful human interest stories in the paper this morning that I got a chance to read. One of them on the Griffey's. Griffey Sr. talking about Junior and his days. So Sheffield will step in, only one out. The infield will come in for the Yankees. And the breaking ball catches the outside corner for a called strike. Now Nelson has been throwing about 90% breaking balls.
And of course, they've been trying to get him to throw more fastballs.
Maybe throw a fastball just to establish the fastball so they just won't sit in there. This one gets away from Girardi. Do they have a shot? No. Renteria slides in. And the Marlins lead it 5-2. We talked about the breaking ball. That was a little bit too much of a breaking ball, and Girardi couldn't react. And you saw the speed and the quickness of Renteria. It didn't go away. It didn't get away that far.
And you saw the reaction on Joe Torre's face. There's a breaking ball that just stays outside. There's so much movement on that, goes way away from Joe Girardi, and he can't get the ball back to Nelson in time. Renteria just so quick, just slides right under there.
You saw the big jump by Renteria, and then when you have to make a hurried throw like that, and Nelson not as agile as you would like for him to be, it just sets up for another run for the Marlins.
And then of course Renteria is moving out there on third base, and you can see the movement, and you wonder if Nelson sort of saw him out of the right-hand side of his eye, and there's Nelson has no chance at that ball. Now there's Renteria, and he's been moving back and forth the whole time there, and you wonder if Nelson saw him out of the corner of his eye.
Well, he tried to block the plate, but he didn't have the ball. And Girardi has left the home plate area to repair some equipment. Looks like the shin guard on the left side that Gene Monahan and Girardi are messing with. So on that play, maybe he snapped a strap. So that's the reason that we have the delay at this present time. Marlins now lead at 5-2. There was one out in the 7th inning. Well, you see that Sheffield will do a little cleaning up, and he will wait for Girardi to return, and he's already cleaned off the gear. He's wiped the mask off, and he'll hand it to Girardi, and we'll start the inning. Once again, 1-1 count on Sheffield.
When was the last time you saw that? The opposing
I see guys do that a lot.
Cleaning off the equipment?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
I've seen that a lot. Torre and Stottlemyre not happy about that run coming in, and the check swing. They wish they would have gotten that one. 2 gone with Sheffield rounding back to Nelson. A lot of times when you pitch to a guy like Sheffield, who is so dangerous that you want to make the perfect pitch, and it looked like Nelson just hung on to that curveball a little bit too long. That'll bring up Alou, who's 2 for 3 today. He had that bases clearing double back in the 1st inning. And the Marlins scored 3 off of Kenny Rogers.
And it was his single that tied up the game in the bottom of the 9th inning the other day off of David Cone.
I don't know. I thought for some reason or another, I just had a weird feeling about Kenny Rogers after the Yankees put him in the bullpen last night, and then all of a sudden we get rained down. We've got to play this split doubleheader today, and Torre says you're going to be the starting pitcher first game. I thought maybe that would just be maybe a spark for him mentally.
You know, I talked to him before the game. He was very relaxed, and he said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show everybody what kind of a pitcher I am. And there he goes out again, and in the 1st inning gets in trouble immediately.
2-0 pitch swung on. Now it's 2-1. Well, he is a real puzzle, and I know that Torre and Stottlemyre, they're flabbergasted. I don't know if they know what to do with Kenny Rogers now.
I think they don't.
And obviously Kenny doesn't know what to do with himself.
You don't understand, and what I don't understand is how it can change so quickly. He'll go once or twice around the lineup and then just get smashed. Look at that.
And he gets an opportunity too with Sheffield getting so many walks and having that high on-base percentage. So Alou, a chance to hit a lot of times with men on base. Swings at the curveball. So Nelson strikes out Alou to end the inning, but the Marlins pick up one more here in the 7th, and they lead at 5-2. Thank you, Susan. Jim Cott will join us here in the top of the 8th inning. We'll be back.
Looks like Nelson probably got spiked in that play at home plate, and Gene Monahan just attending to it. The spike wound on the back of the hand.
Yeah, you wouldn't worry about it if it wasn't the right hand. I mean, if it was the left hand, it'd be a little bit better probably. As O'Neill leads it off against Powell here in the 8th inning. So the Yankees need at least 3 runs to tie. It'll be O'Neill, Whitten, and Kelly. Well, he's got the towel over it. I suspect everything is all right.
I think, and we saw with David Cone the other day, I'm not sure if those dugouts are air conditioned, but if they are, then the pitchers, you know, instead of wearing jackets in there, they'll just wrap a towel around their pitching arm. There's the numbers for Jay Powell. Yeah, he's just keeping that pitching arm, the entire arm warm. Yeah, they got fans in there. That's really where you pick up your sore and stiff arms, is hot to cold with a draft like that.
Yeah, well, that's just circulating the hot air in the dugout. O'Neill with another big cut.
Moving the hot air around.
Right. More ways than one, by the way. 1-2 count on O'Neill. And he's officially 0 for 1 with a couple of walks. He did line it hard back in the 1st inning to left field. And walk came around to score in the 4th. And another walk in the 5th. Well, the Yankees had great opportunities in the 4th and 5th inning. Unable to really capitalize on it with some great play by the Marlins. That's out of play left side.
Yeah, managers always say you don't blame a game on an umpire, but if this game stays like this, you know, relatively close, Yankees have to go back to that 3-0 call on Cecil Fielder, which ultimately caused the ejection of Don Zimmer. I mean, it was blatantly out of the strike zone compared to what Greg Bonet has been calling. That would have forced another run in, and Cecil hit the ball at Bonilla, inning-ending double play. So that was a big pitch in a ball game.
Inside and low, that'll leave the count up at 2-2. How about going back to the 1st inning, and Kenny Rogers thought he had Cangelosi struck out.
Yep.
And eventually ended up walking him, and the Marlins scored 3 runs in the top of the 1st. So he's had some pretty good work here in the last couple of games between the Yankees and the Marlins. That's Bonet. He's had that ejection arm up. And this is hit hard and past Renteria into center field. Boy, it looked for a moment like Renteria was going to catch up with it after it hit the mound, but O'Neill comes up with the hit.
Now, Paul O'Neill continues to hit line drives. We mentioned he has hit the ball harder than any Yankee hitter consistently through the year, and you see Renteria ranging to his left with a great effort, just couldn't quite get leather on it. Now that run that Jim Leland manufactured with the Marlins the last inning, using his number 3 hitter to sacrifice bunt, becomes a big run.
You bet. As Whitten steps in, and he hits it high into left field. Going back is Cangelosi on the warning track, and he makes the play. So O'Neill will have to return to first, and Whitten just missed that one.
Outfielders communicating, because with the swirling winds here in South Florida, I mean, Whitten is very strong. This ball in the air, and Cangelosi, he thinks he has it measured, and watch where he ends up catching the ball. Almost back on the warning track, so it continues to drift out toward center field.
Well, that should give us some indication which way the wind is blowing. And you talk about inches, that was just inches from being a home run off the bat of Whitten. So with one gone, Pat Kelly will step in. And the breaking balls.
Joe Torre not going to go to his bench like to Mariano Duncan, who would be a better hitter right now. I think this is an indication Pat Kelly is going to get a chance to prove whether he can play second base and start to hit a little bit.
Up high for a ball. Now it's 1-1. Well, you would think that with the Yankees and 3 second basemen, somebody's got to make a move.
Yep, somebody's got to step up and say, I want to be the everyday guy. Soho has been the best so far. He tailed off a little, so he's getting a rest in game 1.
That pitch gets away from Johnson. So O'Neill will go to second. And you see Soho.
He's getting ready for game 2. We understand now that originally there was going to be an hour and 30-minute wait, but now we understand game 2 will start between 45 minutes and an hour after game one. There's not as many people in the stands, even though they announced the largest crowd of the year, 42,000 plus, second straight sellout. But they all didn't show up, so it won't take them long to clear the stadium, so we'll be able to get game two started a little quicker than they anticipated.
42-8-45. As Powell misses outside, now it's 2-2 on Kelly. One out here in the 8th inning. 5-2. Florida leads it. And as Jim mentioned, it's the first game of this split doubleheader. The Yankees losing Friday night's game, and Saturday night's game rained out. That's up high. Now it's 3-2 on Kelly.
Powell with good stuff, good sinking fastball and slider, but today he's having a little trouble getting it in the strike zone. Here's a guy who is the former #1 draft pick of the Baltimore Orioles, a first rounder. And I don't know why, but they traded him to the Marlins for Brett Barbary, so the Marlins got a pretty good deal there, getting a first-round draft choice.
Line to left field for a base hit. So the Yankees now with 2 men on, and Girardi coming up to the plate brings the tying run. So a good at bat for Pat Kelly.
I think that might be the hardest ball Pat Kelly's hit all year. You see it moving down and in. I think Kelly is more of a low ball hitter. And Paul O'Neill, because that ball was hit hard.
Let's go back to the first inning. This is Kenny Rogers. We were talking about the Cangelosi we thought was struck out. Rogers thought he was struck out. Cangelosi thought he was struck out, and so did Girardi.
And look at Joe Torre shake his head. He can't believe it. You know, you see 200 and some pitches in a ball game, and you say, big deal, 2 pitches. I mean, that's a stretch to say that could affect a ball game, but the 3-0 pitch to Fielder, and then you go back to that leadoff walk, and we saw it last night with David Wells. That's what got him upset. And we've said it before, and I know you have, that when a ball game is over and you haven't mentioned the home plate umpire, chances are he's done a real good job, right? I mean, he's there and he does his job, but when he's the focal point, then you know there's a lot of controversy. He's had a tough day, and Greg Bonet has.
He's had a tough couple of days. Now the Yankees, runners at first and third, and Girardi sends one out into center field. Coming on is Alou. It'll fall in front of him. So the Yankees will pick up another run. It's 5-3 now as O'Neill scores. And the bottom of the order doing some great work against this Marlin ball club. 3 out of the first 4 men up here in the 8th with base hits.
And Joe Torre going to his bench for the 3rd time. Joe Girardi. Johnson wanted it down and away. Powell left it over the middle of the plate. Alou makes Pat Kelly think he's going to catch the ball, but can't. And with that base hit, Joe Girardi helps the Yankees get the lead run into the batter's box.
And in National League style, that will be Charlie Hayes, as the pitcher will be hit for. And still only 1 out here in the 8th inning. You see the runners at first and second. And the hitman, Charlie Hayes, swinging at the first pitch, fouling it back and out of play.
And the number 9 spot in the Yankee batting order has seen 4 different hitters. Kenny Rogers got his first major league at bat. Then Cecil Fielder, who hit into the double play, was at a key moment. And then Chad Curtis, and now Charlie Hayes, as Dennis Cook gets ready for some of the Yankee left-hand hitters.
That one, but just gets underneath it. It may have been a little bit high in the strike zone, and so he has fallen in behind the count 0-2 as Stanton continued to warm. He will be coming in the 9th inning.
Be the Yankees' 5th pitcher.
The 8th inning, bottom of the 8th. I'm sorry.
Charlie Hayes has had a nice Father's Day weekend. One of his boys here, outstanding high school football player in the state of Texas. I mean, he looks like one of the major league players. He's like 6'1", 220.
They don't grow him small anymore.
No, and I think he's like a sophomore. He's
really wow.
Been on the weight program.
Low and outside the appeal. And Charlie Hayes did not go around. So he gets a little chuckle. He says, I think he just said to Bonet and also Johnson, you should have asked me. I really didn't go around on that one.
Yeah, you don't have to ask the umpire.
No,
ask me, I'll tell you.
So Powell, who is trying to set it up for Nin, having problems here in the 8th inning. This could be 2. Renteria to Abbott for 1, and the high throw pulls Conine off the bag, so the Yankees still have life here in the 8th inning. After all the great plays that Abbott has made down at second and a routine double play, and he can't complete it.
Yeah, and he has, you're right, made so many good plays there. He's not known for his fielding ability. In fact, after Jim Leland sees this, Renteria gives him a perfect toss, and Abbott just unloads the ball a little too quickly. Could have been and should have been an ending double play. And Charlie Hayes, running hard, beats it by a stride. Jim Leland probably, I wonder if he's asking himself, maybe I should have put Castillo in here in the latter part of the ball game for defense. Let's see if Charlie, who was criticized during the Boston series for not running hard all the way. Doesn't mean Charlie's a fast runner, but he ran hard all the way, hustling to beat the throw.
So the Yankees still have life here in the 8th. It's 5-3 Marlin. And Derek Jeter, first pitch swinging, and sends it foul off to the right side. Jeter has had a tough day so far. He has struck out 3 times and walked once. There you see Kelly at third. And of course Hayes on at first. Hayes had a couple of pitches to hit. He fouled them back. Then he had to chase a off-speed pitch. Sent out into right field. Coming on is Sheffield. It'll fall in front of Sheffield. Kelly comes on to score. Hayes goes to third, and it's 5-4. Marlins lead. So Jeter keeps it alive for the Yankees.
Well, that's been Derek's strength, is to take the pitch even when it's inside and not pull it, but hit it the opposite way. Sheffield, for a moment, I think, thought about diving for it, but of course that's what put him on the disabled list earlier this year. And so he played it on one hop. This will be interesting, Bobby. Jim Leland's going to his bullpen to get Dennis Cook to come in and face Wade Boggs. Now this year we've seen Joe Torre not hesitate to pinch hit for Wade Boggs. You got a pretty good right-hand hitter on the bench in Mariano Duncan.
Well, Dennis Cook will come into the game as Jay Powell could not do the job here in the 8th inning, but the Yankees had new life. So Bonilla leads it off here in the 8th. And Bonilla 0 for 3. The Yankee bullpen, as a combined bullpen, say that they feel a little bit better down there now, and they feel more comfortable. And finally admitted that, yeah, they felt some pressure early on with the with Wetland gone and Mariano and all those different setup men down there that were vying for a job and being counted on. So they feel more comfortable. And Stanton has really come on here lately.
What happens, Bobby, is when you're in the bullpen and the phone rings, you have that feeling that when it rings in a certain situation, it's your call. And then when it is, and you get up and you feel, hey, this is my time, the manager's got confidence in me. But when the phone rings and you don't know who it's going to be, and there's a lot of surprises, that causes unrest. Good swing there by Bonilla. And early in the year, no one seemed to know where they fit in, and Joe Torre didn't know, because none of the pitchers had really stepped up and shown him that they could do the job.
Yeah, he had designed it out of spring training. He knew what he wanted to do. That didn't work out. About the only time that when the phone rang, you knew who could get up would be Rivera. 2-1 count on Bonilla. Make it 2-2. Well, let's take a look at our Sipperstein's Painting a Perfect Match feature. And Bobby Bonilla. Painting a perfect match with Dave Winfield through 1984. I don't think Dave played a whole lot of third base as Bonilla strikes out. So Stanton Fell behind Bonilla and then came back to strike him out. So one away.
Yeah, a lot like Ruben Sierra. See Bobby Bonilla pick the front leg up. If you keep the ball away from him, that's how he struck out his first at bat as a left-hand pitcher. You keep it away from him, he has a difficult time getting to that ball because he tries to pitch to pull everything.
All right, that'll bring up Jeff Conine.
The Marlins have changed a bit. Jim Leyland says they're starting to use the whole field, but early in the year there was a National League advanced scout said the Marlins are the easiest team in the National League to scout because all you have to do is keep the ball away from them. All of them want to pull the ball. And so Leland said I had to have some sessions and tell guys, hey, it's a lot like hitting in Fenway Park here. The left-hand hitters can go the other way. Use the whole field.
You looked like Conine was trying to take that pitch to the opposite field. Well, from a hitter standpoint, when you know it's only 330, 361 in the gap, you see in left center field out there where the scoreboard is. That's the shortest part of this ballpark in the power alley. And it juts way out to 434 where the Bermuda Triangle is. Curveball in there for a strike. Now it's 1-2. It makes you, when you go to the plate, you want to turn those wrists over a little bit.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you can take advantage of that. And I know that's the Bermuda Triangle. That's what they call it here. 434 all the way out there. One out here in the 8th inning. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Conine. 5-4, Marlins lead it. Jeter up with it. And the throw. Good pitch by Stanton to get Conine out in front of it. And there's 2 away.
I want to remind everyone that between games, after our post-game show, we'll have game 2, of course, maybe about an hour afterwards. But in the post-game coverage, we will show you reports from Tampa, where Hideki Irabu had very impressive 5 innings, and they had a tremendous brawl up there where Lee Mazzilli, the manager of the Tampa team, was thrown out.
Now this is Charles Johnson grounding to Jeter as short. Well, I'll be anxiously awaiting to see all of that in between games as Stanton puts the Marlins down 1-2-3. We go to the top of the 9th inning. The Yankees need at least 1. They're behind 5-4.
Exciting affair, and the Yankees will have an opportunity with the heart of their order. Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, and Paul O'Neill, and an interesting move by Jim Leyland. He is allowing Dennis Cook to pitch the 9th inning and not his closer, Rob Nen.
Obviously, I think it's because of Tino Martinez, who's on deck, and Paul O'Neill to follow Martinez, so he gets at least 2 out of 3 left-handers to pitch to here this inning if he lasts that long.
Yeah, that's outside for a ball, and actually this is Bernie Williams' best side in terms of hitting a home run to tie the ball game.
Well, you have to know the stats too on Dennis Cook. He's 0-59 the hitters are against him first batters up, and then only 172 batting average against the opposing hitters.
That's in for a strike. Bernie, of his 10 home runs, 6 from the right side, and that's what he's done against Dennis Cook. A lot of managers feel like their closer's good enough to get any hitter out. Left, right, MVP, number 9 hitter, no matter who they are. But Jim Leyland really playing the percentages. That is off the edge, 2-1. He's ready, Rob Nen.
And normally you don't get your closer up and get him ready unless you're going to bring him into the ball game.
That's low, and it's 3-1. And the other thing with these matchups, I don't care what the stat pages say, there is something about getting the 27th out. There's a very few guys that can do it, can close the game. Dennis Cook has not had a save since he was with Texas near the end of 1995. So pitchers like Cook who get big outs in the 7th and 8th inning, there's a different pressure when you're there in the 9th inning.
I don't know if I'm thinking like Leyland or not, but Cook has pitched so well against the left-handed batters for the Yankees in some crucial situations. You go back to the 9th inning in Friday night's game when he got Paul O'Neill to fly out with the runner on to third with less than 2 outs.
So Bernie Williams draws a leadoff walk. That upsets a little bit of the Leland strategy already. Now let's go back to the 5th inning and take a look at our MCS Cannon turning point of the game. Wow. That was it. Because even though Jeter scored, that ball would have been in the gap and would have made a big difference in the ball game. That's our MCS Cannon turning point on the great play by Conine. And again, that misses the strike zone. Ball 1 to Tino Martinez.
Yeah, of course, the Yankees getting this opportunity to bring that heart of this Yankee order up here in the 9th inning because of what they did in the 8th inning and that missed double play that the Marlins failed to complete.
On the edge, strike 1. Yeah, a lot of, you read the box score, you see the hits, runs, and errors, but there's so many little things like Conine's play that won't show up in the box score, but it was a big play. The ball at the, the pitch to Cecil, the pitch to Cangelosi, little things like that in close ball games are magnified. Sidearm pitch, and it's hit well to right field, but it's deep out there. Sheffield's going to have room right by the 385 sign. It is much more convenient to hit a home run in left field than right. It's a long ways out there.
Well, that would have been out in Yankee Stadium, and I think it got in on him just a little bit. He had to pull his hands in, his arms in just a hair, which causes him to lift the ball a little bit higher than what he would want. So even though that's a lot of territory and a high fly ball, Bernie went halfway and hoping that Sheffield either drops the ball and go to third. I don't think Bernie could have tagged and gone into second. Sheffield's got a good arm and right.
Tino hit one out that direction in Friday night's game and just missed it. So here's Paul O'Neill, who popped up against Cook on Friday night, would like to get a little revenge here. Low for a ball. Again, we invite you to stay tuned between games because our sports desk coverage will include highlights or lowlights, whichever you prefer to call them, from the brawl that they had in Tampa, minor league game of the Yankees, where Hideki Irabu had a sensational performance. He was not involved in the brawl. O'Neill calls time. In fact, it's probably an interesting experience for him because over in Japan, they just tip their hat and bow to people. They don't charge them out and start fighting.
Not unless you're an umpire.
Yeah.
They kind of treat their umpires a little mean over there.
Sidearm, and O'Neill with a good swing fouls that out of play.
Well, a little bit different look from Dennis Cook, and you can see that he is trying everything that he has to preserve this game for the Marlins. Why they always drop down on left-handed batters is beyond me.
You wish it was illegal, wouldn't you? Looks like Charles Johnson. Now he wanted the fastball outside, but looks like Cook wants to throw a breaking ball. There goes Bernie. It is a breaking ball, and here's Johnson's arm, and Bernie is in there. Because it was a breaking ball, gave him just enough time, Bernie Williams that is, to get in ahead of the throw.
That is a big play for the Yankees because Johnson has a gun behind home plate. And Dennis Cook is a left-handed pitcher, so you figure that Bernie's not going to get that big of a jump. But I mean, it was a huge one. And it turns out it wasn't even close.
That is his 9th stolen base of the year. And now the Yankees have the tying run in scoring position. Just like Friday night's game, it's coming down to the last out in the last inning of a one-run game. Toward first base, and it's fair, and it's down the line, and the Yankees are going to tie the game. O'Neill is heading for second, and the Yankees have the lead run at second base, and Jim Leyland's strategy backfires. Paul O'Neill reaches the left-hand pitching Cook for the game-tying RBI.
So the big stolen base by Bernie Williams allows the Yankees to tie this score. And Paul O'Neill gets revenge from Dennis Cook where he failed in Friday night's game. And we've got some National League baseball here. And that's a fastball inside. And this time Conine cannot glove it. Thank heavens for the Yankees. And Bernie off a second, and no chance to throw him out.
You know, a lot of times late in the game, Bobby, managers have their corner infielders guard the line to prevent that extra base hit. I don't think Leyland dreamed that O'Neill would pull Dennis Cook. Now the intentional walk to Mark Whitten, which is going to set up a situation for Rob Nen, their closer, to come in and face right-hand hitting Pat Kelly. And then behind Kelly is Joe Girardi. But the Yankees have given themselves a chance. Kenny Rogers is off the hook, which is nothing new.
Well, Leyland had asked, is Nen ready? And I guess he got the favored sign, so he's on his way to the mound, and we're going to have some switches.
Yeah, because the pitcher spot is due up in the bottom of the ninth. So Bonilla, who made the first out in the 8th inning, is going to be replaced by John Wayner at third base. So Wayner will hit ninth for the Marlins. Rob Nen will come in and hit in Bonilla's spot. But the Yankees have tied it off left-hander Dennis Cook. And we'll be back here at Pro Player Stadium. Still just one out in the ninth right after this. Got it in, ball one.
And Joe Torre hoping that last base hit by Pat Kelly builds up some confidence in him when he comes up in a situation such as this here.
Girardi on deck. Low ball hitter, low ball pitcher. That's well off the plate.
Well, normally against Nen, from the hitter standpoint, you look for nothing but fastballs. I mean, he's a power pitcher. He does have some other pitches, but his out pitch is the fastball. He's got that, you know, that funky delivery, a little hesitation in it, but other than that, you can look for fastballs.
Got one there, swung through it. And for a closer, he has given up well over a hit an inning. That's unusual. O'Neill got the RBI double. Whitten drew the intentional walk there at second and first. And again, that fastball running down and into Pat Kelly, and the count has gone to 3-1.
Well, you wouldn't like to have your closer in the game with a tie game. Look at that delivery that Nen has. It's kind of a hesitation leg. It's very unconventional.
Yeah, he leans. I mean, he's leaning way toward home plate. And that's why he's getting way ahead of himself and having trouble finding the strike zone. That's where. See how he's leaning toward. He never gets his weight on his back leg. He's just leaning right toward home plate, and all the balls are going to go up and in unless he changes that. So Pat Kelly draws a walk. The Yankees have them loaded. And now Jim Leyland is instructing his infield. They will play medium depth at short and second for the double play, but Joe Girardi can run well enough to stay out of that. Good swing and fouled straight back. Well, bases loaded. You look for a fastball. Got it.
Well, that's all you got to do from the hitter standpoint. And you see the runners. Bases loaded. No place to put Girardi.
Hasn't done well against Rob Nen in just 7 at-bats, but boy, he was right on that pitch. Late on that one, 0-2. as you'd expect. If the Yankees score the lead run, that's who the pitcher will be. Right field. Sheffield coming over. Abbott going out, and if he catches it, and he does, O'Neill's going to try to score, and he will. And the Yankees take the lead.
I think that's a mistake by the Marlins because that's Sheffield's play.
Yeah, look at Leland.
He feels the same way. Sheffield, for some reason or another, did not call Abbott off of that ball. It's his play to catch that foul ball because his momentum is bringing him towards home plate. One more look at it, and you see the big chase. Sheffield actually just looking for somebody else, and maybe Sheffield couldn't have gotten there. I don't know, but it was Sheffield's. Actually was Sheffield's play.
Yeah, he's got to get over there. As you watch Sheffield come into the picture, he runs a kind of a flag pattern. You know, he doesn't run straight toward the ball. He has got to get in position to make that catch, or they have to let the ball drop. You know, Nen has the ability to strike out Joe Girardi. You either have to let Sheffield catch that ball or let the ball drop.
And the Yankees know once Abbott comes up with that play, O'Neill's got a chance to score. Wow.
What a comeback by the Yankees. And here's Charlie Hayes now, who entered the ball game as a pinch hitter last inning, so he stayed in the game and hit in the 9th position. Kelly and Witten advance, and now with 2 outs, the Yankees have 2 big runs at second and third with 2 down. On the corner, 1-2. Let's look at Golden Wheels. Paul O'Neill.
Well, he's had some chances, and he has had some chances at first base that he didn't want, so he feels pretty happy about that go-ahead run.
Yeah, he got a couple of stolen bases this year. Up the middle, and that's into center field for a base hit. Witten and Kelly will score, and Charlie Hayes is heading for second, and he's going to make it. The Yankees now lead by 3. 8-5 New York.
And the hitman Charlie Hayes with a big hit to put a couple more runs on the board, and that was a good pitch by Nen, and Hayes goes with it up the middle. 2 men will come on. A loose throw is towards home, and Hayes forces Conine to cut that ball off to allow those runs to score. Even if he gets thrown out, it's 2 runs for the Yankees.
And here's Jeter. Grounded foul outside of third. So all the double switches, you know, no matter what a manager does, it's the players that have to produce. And Jim Leyland's strategy today was foiled. The Marlins pretty good, 30-3 when they took the lead into the 9th inning, and he elected to stay with Dennis Cook, which to me was surprising.
Well, you know, you mentioned the fact that Nim was giving up a base hit per inning, and maybe felt more comfortable, obviously did, with Cook facing those left-handed hitters.
Just managers that I've been around, and I've known Jim Leyland for a long time. I haven't watched him operate that much, but the managers like Tom Kelly, if you have an ace closer, they say, we don't care who's up there. If it's the 9th inning, it's his turn to pitch, and we're going to run him out there. That's what we pay him for. But the third base tandem of Boggs and Hayes, productive today. Wade got a couple of hits. That's grounded to Renteria, tossed to Conine in time, so the inning is over. But the Yankees have struck in the last 2. They got 2 in the 8th, 4 in the 9th, and we head to the bottom of the 9th. Mariano Rivera will come on to try to save it. Yankees leading 8-5. Park, it appeared to have this one under control. They led 5-2 going to the top of the 8th, but now with the Yankees taking the lead, Mariano Rivera will come on. And
I suspect that the Marlins have heard so much about Rivera that they want to get a chance to see him, and they're going to get that chance here in the 9th inning. His reputation obviously precedes himself, and Leyland and the Marlins will get their shot for the first time here at the 9th inning.
So John Wehner went into the game the double switch, but now Jim Leyland will go to his bench and send up his usually regular second baseman, Luis Castillo. He'll lead it off against Rivera.
He's just a slap hitter. Infield will be in.
That's ball one. Yeah, Charlie Hayes shake hands with him right now. There against that fastball of Mariano Rivera. He's just going to try to, as you said, slap it the other way. That is in for a strike, 1-1. And if you can throw strikes right now, you talked about the background earlier, Bobby. There's some shadows and some sunlight out there. I think it's a little difficult to see the ball.
And we've got some shadows now creeping in between the pitcher and the batter.
That is high for a ball. 2-1. You always have to wait on Bonet.
Hey, thank heavens for shadows. That means that there's sun here at Miami.
That's the brightest we've seen it. It's been the brightest moment for the Yankees. There is that slap down the third baseline, in on the hands, 2-2.
I think with Rivera's fastball, you can take the right side of the infield and put them over on the left side against Castillo.
If he pulls Mariano's fastball, they have to holler from the Marlins dugout. As soon as Mariano gets in his windup, they say swing.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, he's not going to catch up with it. Stays alive. But like the Marlins said, you know, they knocked the bat out of his hand, but he gets his hits. You know, he keeps on pecking away.
Well, he gets his hit because he's got such great speed, and he beats most of those ground balls out.
Angelosi, who also can run, he waits on deck. Right back to the mound, and Mariano Rivera showing you a little of his athletic ability. He's a terrific fielder. He picks that and throws out Castillo. That's out number 1 in the Marlin ninth.
Hey, a little bit of Michael Jordan on this play. Take a look at it. I mean, Mariano really reaches up there to get it. And he knows he has no time to waste with Castillo because he's chopping and running. And he's almost running before he's chopping. That's the reason he gets so many infield hits.
Here's Cangelosi. Low for a ball. John now hitting from the left side of the plate. He's the starting left fielder in today's game. You see what he's done against. This is now the 5th. Let's see, this is the 6th Yankee pitcher. Well, Joe Torre has gone to almost his entire bullpen. And if Mariano Rivera can get 2 more outs, it will be well worth it. Bell tie strike, 2-1. Jim Messier, the only pitcher not used because he was called into action in last night's game when David Wells was ejected. Right by him, 2-2.
Well, Rivera obviously just coming in with heat against Cangelosi. You try to keep the ball up in the strike zone on Cangelosi, get him to hit the ball in the air. He doesn't have that much power and probably can't catch up with it anyway.
Stays alive. Remember now, about 45 minutes to an hour between games, and we'll have game 2. Doc Gooden will start for the Yankees. Livan Hernandez, the free agent Cuban right-hander, will pitch for the Marlins. That's Edgar Renteria in the on-deck circle. Again, Cangelosi, the pesky switch hitter, stays alive. And on our sports desk coverage, we will update you on the performance today of Hideki Irabu up in Tampa, where he worked 5 very impressive innings. Good at bat now by Cangelosi. He's run the count full on Rivera by fouling off a couple of tough pitches and taking that one. Struck him out. That looked like a little cutter.
Yeah.
Almost like a cut or a slider. And Cangelosi's down on strikes, and the Yankees are 1 out from a victory.
It may have been a fastball just with additional movement on it, but it did have some movement inside like a cutter. And on a 3-2 pitch, that's going to get most of the good hitters out.
So Edgar Renteria right now the last hope of the Marlins. Strike one. Mariano Rivera said in spring training, I've got to be more of a pitcher. I can't just rely on the high fastball. American League hitters have seen enough of that. So he said, I've got to blend in a slide. Of course, he's got a 3-run lead to work with. Wow. Country hardball. Here it is. Hit it if you can.
And throw it.
Well, there's Yankee fans here. We're accustomed to seeing this in the stadium, and they're on their feet at Pro Player Stadium.
Holy cow, there are more fans here than there are Marlins fans. Look at these Yankee fans.
1-2. Of course, the Yankees trained down in Fort Lauderdale, which you did for many, many years, so they have a fan base here. High again, 2-2. You see how Girardi just flips that ball right back to Rivera. Just get it back in his hands. I know what he's going to throw. He's no mystery. Renteria stays alive.
But you saw the type of pitch with Abbott on deck. The pitch outside, and where Renteria was doing, he was reaching for it.
All deuces. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
Like he was protecting more for a ball inside.
Again stays alive. Well, the Yankees are the best in the American League at walking a lot, not striking out much, and the Marlins are that way in the National League. So you can see Cangelosi, now Renteria, tough outs. They keep nicking those 2-strike pitches. Again. Marlins got 3 in the first inning. Kenny Rogers, 3 walks. Lou hit a bases loaded double. Looked like another tough day for Joe Torre and his team. Extended the lead to 5-2, but the Yankees have come back. Grounded toward Charlie Hayes, but fouled. 2 runs in the top of the 8th inning to get within 1. And then it was Paul O'Neill with the RBI double. Joe Girardi with the sacrifice fly. Charlie Hayes got a single for a couple extra runs. Towards shortstop. Jeter is there. The throw to Martinez, and the Yankees have defeated the Marlins in a terrific come from behind win. 8-5. Lots of heroes in the middle of that diamond.
And this is a big win for the Yankees, too, after losing Friday night's game and then last night's game being rained out. But what happened in the first inning, and some guys that were able to redeem themselves this afternoon, even though we had another rain delay. It took a long time to play this first game. Well, when you take that much time, it's always great to win it. And the comeback win by the Yankees, I think, will boost them for the second game, no doubt about that.
Yeah, as crushing a loss that was on Friday night, this is that kind of a win, one that they didn't look like they were going to win for a while. And so rewarding when you come back in the last 2 innings with 6 runs against a team that's had a good bullpen to end up winning the ball game. So it took Joe Torre's team a little over 3.5 hours. He's used to that in the American League, but it was well worth it. Hey, he may start Kenny Rogers in game 2. Every time they start him, they score runs and win.
Why not?
We'll have game 2. We'll have lots more here from Pro Player Stadium when we come back on MSG. The Yankees win it. They come from behind to beat the Marlins 8-5. That's been a typical sight at Pro Player Stadium. The Thunderheads beyond the stadium here, but let's check out our Jeep Eagle game summary, where the Yankees, with 6 runs in the last 2 innings, come from behind to win at 8-5. Mike Stanton got the win. He's now 2-0. Dennis Cook, the loser. Mariano Rivera, his 21st save, 1 home run. Gary Sheffield hit his 7th. Paul O'Neill had a pair of hits, including a big one that tied the game. The Yankees have not done very well at coming from behind, and Kenny Rogers, even though he just pitched 3 innings, another start. As a start, he was a failure today, but whenever he starts, Bobby, the Yankees seem to win the ball game, mainly because of guys like this.
Well, you talk about thunderheads. These are thunder hits in the 8th and 9th inning, and Paul O'Neill with the big one, the double down to right field line. Conine, finally, they get one past him, and Bernie comes on to score it. And the Yankees come up with 4 big runs there in the 9th inning. And highlighted by Paul because he gets a chance to redeem himself in a couple of ways. The other night against Dennis Cook, he failed to drive in that run, which turned out to be a very important run with less than 2 outs at third, plus playing first base, and he got burned throwing to second for the sacrifice.
Yeah, I think today's game, I mean, baseball to me is the best game because there are so many little things that happen. And today, if you're Jim Leyland, you're scratching your head saying, well, first of all, they should have let the fly ball drop that Joe Girardi hit.
2 more in that 9th. Mo saved it as Jim Leyland's Marlins just flat out blew it 8-5. And David Wells, who last night ridiculously got himself ejected in the 2nd inning, will now pitch against the Mets on Tuesday. A chance to get out of the manager's doghouse.
I was more than aggravated. I mean, that was no excuse for that. That was terrible. I mean, it was unprofessional, and he left us hanging, and there's no excuse for it.
He better be good on Tuesday. Now, if Hideki Irabu keeps pitching the way he has so far, he'll be in the Bronx a lot sooner than expected. The $13 million import made his 2nd start today in Tampa, and again, heating it up, topping out at 99 miles per hour on his fastball. Irabu this time went 5 shutout innings. He allowed 3 hits, again, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Plus, Hideki got to see another American baseball custom, a bench-clearing brawl. And this one, with the Devil Rays and the Tampa Yanks, got pretty nasty. Plus, his minor league manager, Lee Mazzilli, he tried to get at the opposing manager. I wonder if Irabu saw anything like this when he was in Japan. Now, the Mets interleague experience goes primetime tonight. They play the rubber game with the Red Sox tonight at Shea. In Atlanta, even on Father's Day, Tim loyalties can tear families apart. Braves and Orioles tied at 3 in the 10th till Mark Wohlers face Lenny Webster. Forget about it. You know, Wohlers has a problem with these interleague backup catchers. 5-3 Baltimore wins. O's sweep the Braves.